Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, our third spring game recap of the day. Dill, you were primarily had the eyeballs on Oregon. For one, I just want to start. Tell us the vibe. Dan Lanning in Eugene, Oregon. How was the spring game? What was the turnout like? How was the atmosphere?
I thought the place looked pretty packed, like compared to some of the Big Ten games and the SEC games. Like it looked like people are way into it and ready to rock and roll. And the big thing is Dan Lanning had them like
I heard.
pounding each other.
Love
They were going full blast.
I love that.
But a couple injuries, nothing that looked too significant. No, they just like a little like banged up.
Yeah.
Nobody had to get stretchered off or get helped off. Everyone came up, but yeah, they were going after it, full blow pretty much. So yeah, it's kind of electric. I think Dan Lanning, as much as like Cristobal is kind of more from the school of the hard-nosed play, they were not a hard-nosed team last year for sure. And they really, I don't think he ever brought the culture up to where probably Lanning's going to want it. Coming from Georgia, where that's probably the most physical football team you've ever seen. What just happened in 2022.
Yeah.
So Dan Lanning knows what it's like to have absolute brawlers. And I think that's what he wanted. He had them going. Yeah, that was full game.
I love it. I love to hear that. I mean, before we get into the actual recap of the position groups, obviously the quarterback race, we just want to thank you guys for checking us out. If you guys like the content, go like, subscribe to the channel. We're talking a lot of college football here. We've also been talking a lot of the NFL draft. So we appreciate all the support. The support has actually been absolutely awesome. You guys are absolutely goated for all the support. Dill, let's get into the spring game. It starts with a quarterback battle. Everything that I'm reading is it's neck and neck. Bo Nix, obviously transfer from Auburn. Both guys, I mean, I feel like Bo Nix is like, oh, he's the star heralded recruit out of high school. Ty Thompson, also a top 50 quarterback and a top 50 player in the nation, one of the best quarterbacks in his recruiting class. What did you see out of the quarterbacks that kind of maybe who might be the starter here?
So Bo Nix did the classic Bo Nix that just can't happen. And if he wants a chance of playing in this game for this team, I mean, that interception is just an incredible act of judgment. And he does that so often. So It's not like an anomaly because that's his game. He makes terrible throws, or not terrible throws, like just terrible decisions and throws too many picks. So I mean, that's the one thing that stands out. It's very hard to judge generally. I think the wideouts were open a fair amount early. So like they both were making some fairly wide open throws to guys like Mcgee and
Mcgee, by the way, shout out Rock Boys, Rochester City guy.
True.
Love to see it. Not many guys coming out of Rochester making waves at the college football level. Mcgee though, shout out.
Yeah. That's all.
That's the story of Bo Nix. I feel like we've lived and died by the Bo Nix sword plenty in 2021 in our college football betting. Some absolute stellar. Like sometimes Bo Nix is a Heisman Trophy candidate, and you're all pumped about him, and you're winning games. And then there's sometimes where it's just inexplicable. Like
he doesn't give you a chance. Yeah. He just doesn't give you a chance. So I don't know. Ty Thompson threw a pick, but it was like he just threw the ball a little behind and it got tipped. And it wasn't a bad decision. He was like half a yard off on the accuracy, which is not great either. But it's just like the inability to maintain your composure in a spring game is like concerning because he hasn't been able to maintain composure for his whole career. So I don't think Dan Lanning's going to tolerate it.
Look what they did at Georgia. He's
going to want to play probably a slower game. They were lining up under center, run the ball a little bit, and play defense. And he's not going to stand for Bo Nix doing classic Bo Nix football.
So I don't know. Is your vibe Ty Thompson here?
Yeah. Because I just like it. I don't know. It's hard to judge. And obviously we're not like watching practices, but
I've heard Ty Thompson.
I don't know. You saw what he did. You saw the Bo Nix come out, and okay, so that's still not
great.
Solved and
not great.
And he looks a little squirrely once the pressure picked up from the D-line. He started to look a little just a little squirrely, and that's I don't know. It's hard to because Ty Thompson looks good, big, strong arm, athletic. So we'll see.
I kind of agree that I think Dan Lanning will tend to go like look at Georgia. I know he didn't have that much control over Georgia's offense, but they wanted the guy who's going to take care of the football and the guy they can trust. If Bo Nix can't do that, he's not going to play. Now, the one concerning thing I have about Ty Thompson is if he couldn't find – I get he was a true freshman. If he couldn't find the field at all with Anthony Brown at quarterback and how bad at times Anthony Brown was, that's concerning. I mean, he was a true freshman.
Cristobal is not a good football manager. He's a great recruiter. That's what he does. But he's never been a good manager of teams. I mean, he got fired from FIU because he couldn't, and he had the team talented and they just weren't winning games. He doesn't manage football games at a particularly high level. As good as he is of a recruiter, and I think he always has talent. I'm not sure I trust his sense of who should start at quarterback and who should be playing. So I don't want to say Ty Thompson's not the guy because he wasn't the guy for Mario Cristobal.
So let's move along. Wide receivers, from what I read, explosive plays. Mcgee, obviously a very fast player. He got a lot of touches running the ball, and he was kind of getting some touches out of the backfield. Looking like he's kind of one of the more playmakers on that field.
Him and Hudson, I think, are going to be the game breakers.
Yep.
I mean, Chris Hudson had a great year last year. I think he was a true freshman, or at least redshirt. But he was awesome last year, so I'm thinking he should probably put another good season together. Mcgee was really pretty good last year too, so hopefully he can play. I didn't see a ton of Troy Franklin and Dante Thornton. I think Troy Franklin caught a short touchdown, but he's pretty open. So,
and then Chase Cota, the transfer from UCLA, I liked his game at UCLA. You noted he's a possession receiver. I think that's exactly what he is.
He was the best wideout on the field for sure. He made some really nice plays and just was catching the standard balls you need to have caught.
I like his game a lot. Offensive line, I know they've had a few transfers at the running back position. A couple of them went to Florida State. You obviously have Travis Dye, CJ Verdell going to the draft, Travis Dye going to USC, Byron Cardwell, Sean Dollars, Noah Whittington. What was the vibe from the running back spot?
So I don't think you saw Byron Cardwell today. So it was mostly Dollar and Whittington, and they looked good. I know the coaches like Sean Dollar, so I think they're hoping to get a fair amount from him. Noah Whittington looked good. I think part of that was there were some moments where the defense just essentially they let the same thing happen. They let bounce outs happen, get around the tackle, and there was just nobody home. So they broke some big runs doing that.
He had a 45-yarder, I think I read, which is
good.
That was what you want.
But those were some bad defense. I don't even know if he had to break a tackle. So.
And offensive line, I believe you told me pre-show, second most returning snaps in the Pac-12 up front. Obviously, they lost a few guys to the transfer. One, Kingsley Sumata, don't think I said his name right, going to BYU. A couple of guys that went to Miami, but they should still be solid up front. And they also have Chris Conley coming in. Obviously, we wanted him to come to Michigan. He might get a chance to start or get some playing time as well, not early enrollee in the spring. He'll be there in the fall. How'd the offense line look?
It actually didn't look great. I was I think that even the guys calling the game were a little surprised because they were getting beat up pretty good, especially in the pass rush. They were getting. And I actually think, in fairness, that might be a decent unit, but they didn't play as well as you think. Although I don't think you have a ton of concern going into the year just because they were a good unit last year for the most part.
Yeah.
And are bringing back a fair amount. So.
And you said, I know that was the thing you noted the most, the pass rush out front of the defensive line. Was that, obviously you have to replace Kayvon Thibodeau, who's very hard to replace, one of the best players in the country. Who's stepping up here?
They couldn't block DJ Johnson.
He had 3 sacks.
He didn't even really play last year, but nobody could block him. He had some nice plays in the run. Braden Swinson looked really good too. And they were doing it they were blitzing more than I think typically you see in a spring game. So that could have been part of it. You know how if you watch the average team, they don't blitz. So they were blitzing. The linebackers were making some plays. Well, it started off, the offense was hot. I think they both it was 14-14 in the first quarter. So
and then he's
I think Dan Lanner's enough of this. Yeah, we're going to start blitzing. We're going to start getting some sacks. And
did Noah Sewell and Justin Flo didn't play? I don't see them at the box score.
No flow. Sewell was playing, I believe.
Okay. I mean, that's going to be one of the best.
Nice plays.
That's going to be one of the best linebacking groups duo in the country. I mean, Justin Flo is a guy that we've been super excited about and just hasn't really found the field through injuries. Noah Sewell, a proven commodity, just has to be one of the best linebacker prospects in the 2023 NFL draft. Justin Flo as well, though. I mean, both guys super talented, highly coveted recruits. Expect both those guys to probably be used similar to what we saw Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, and Channing Tindall used at Georgia, getting downhill, getting behind line of scrimmage, and making plays.
Noah Sewell is getting increasingly athletic, I think, as his career goes. He came in huge, but he runs well now. He made a nice play chasing down Chris Hudson at one point. And, Justin Flo has been playing today but I think he's back in practicing, so he should be okay. Hopefully he can stay healthy, obviously.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with him.
It's been a problem so far, but I think they're even going to have a good third guy because LeDuc was pretty good.
Okay.
Keith Brown was fairly good. Funamase was good. So I think they're going to have three guys who they're going to be a really, really good unit.
And you said they were blitzing some backers, yeah?
They're not good. Well, they were doing that. They're not great on the interior. They weren't making their interior just wasn't making plays. They weren't getting exposed, but.
Yeah, I mean, I know Georgia's defense under Dan Lanning did rely on, obviously, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, Jalen Carter to be absolute versus. Back end, they have to replace Mikael Wright and Vernon McKinley, both going to the NFL draft, probably will be day 3 picks. How do they look in the back end?
They left some guys open early. I was there was some shockingly open throws. Made the quarterbacks look good early. But they tightened it up, took the ball away a couple times. I think essentially what happened is the pressure got really heavy, so they just kind of got helped in that sense.
Okay.
But they're gonna have some work, and they're super young there. If you look at the board, it's I think they're gonna have some freshmen, sophomores playing on this team. So that's probably a unit that is just gonna use some work, and hopefully they can develop it, or at least be good enough getting after quarterbacks.
Yeah, I know Christian Gonzalez is a guy that they're excited about in the transfer portal. So overall vibes of the spring game, let's just quarterback situation, probably going to go into the fall.
I would think. I mean, they definitely didn't name any, or it didn't look like there was a clear starter.
That's going to be interesting. Bo Nix kind of using up a lot of his eligibility. If he doesn't win this spot, we'll see what he ends up going to, or I don't think he can hit the portal right away again, but that's something to monitor. I think that's what most Ducks fans are looking forward to. They'll appreciate you getting eyeballs on this game, giving us your thoughts and opinions. I think they're the second contender. There'll probably be USC, then UCLA, kind of the 3 teams. You were really not a USC guy.
Yeah, I'm not a USC. Why would I be? They sucked last year. Because they brought Caleb Williams. I mean, he couldn't even win at Oklahoma, and that was the Big 12.
Yeah, I do.
They lost to Oklahoma State last year, and he looked bad.
Also, Utah. I mean, you can't count out the Pac-12 champs.
Utah's awesome.
Utah's going.
They're just always good.
I'm excited to see Oregon without Anthony Brown. I get Anthony Brown gave some good games, but he couldn't throw the ball down the field. It's so hard to run a good offense in the Pac-12 when you can't push the ball down the field. Anthony Brown just couldn't do that, and they had some talent around him. Guys like Micah Pittman. Mcgee last year is a true freshman.
It's a good group of wideouts. They even had running backs last year, so they should have been able to move them.
When Anthony Brown played good defenses like Utah, he actually just was horrible. And it was a shame because I think that defense was really good. I'm really optimistic about the Oregon Ducks with a new quarterback who can hopefully just be a plus quarterback or just an average quarterback. I think at times, I don't mean to just absolutely crap on Anthony Brown, but he just
had a bad year. It just was.
All right, Dale, appreciate you giving your thoughts, opinions on the Oregon spring game. We'll be back with Texas spring game tonight, our last spring game of the day. This one's going to be a good one. Again, appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys do like the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate the support. Let us know your thoughts and opinions of the spring game as well down in the comment section. Talk to y'all later. Peace.